So, I swear my audio messes up every single time. But, this is a game review. The main concept of this game will be Tenuki. So, when to not respond or when to not play a move. Um, literally, Tenuki means te is hand or move, and nuku is to leave or to leave out, I guess, is more precise. So Tenuki is to leave out a move. So this game is pretty simple. It's pretty one-sided. I feel like the best games to learn from often are one-sided games because then you really know how to punish or how to deal with this particular situation. If you look at close games, you can learn a lot too, but if you look at one-sided games, it's like, oh, this was the one part that just completely lost the game. So, yeah. Let's get started. So in this game I approached far. I personally like this because I like to play this opening. A lot is black. It's very fast. It's very light. And I also played this one. I played this one the other day against a friend, against a 9-dun, I guess. I don't know. Friend 9-dun. Like this. And in that game it was like this. And it's pretty, I like this because even though white gets a lot of points on the left, white only has stones on the left hand side. I feel like black gets to move around the board very quickly. So that's basically the ideas behind this opening. I won't go too in depth. That's about as much as I'm going to go into depth with it. But in this game, white chose an interesting response. White played here, which is a little strange. Usually you play this move when you want to emphasize the top side. You want to expand here, but I already have a stone here. And white doesn't have a stone here yet. So it's a little odd. I had actually played this guy one game before, and in that game I played here. And I won that game pretty comfortably. But so I didn't want to play it again. So I decided to play something else. The thing is also here, it lets white pincer, right? And this pincer is not really a big deal for me. I could kick, or I can go up. There's a lot of options, but it does extend nicely from the bottom left stone, which was a little bit something I didn't really want to deal with. So, where should I play? Well, the only other local move that really makes sense is a push here. But this move doesn't really work well because after this, white descends down. I have to extend up for a shape. But then white can get a pretty good pincer against my stones, and it's really uncomfortable for black. So, what did I do? When you don't have a good local move, or even sometimes when you do, but it's not in principle with the whole board, then you can Tenuki to change the board to make your local moves better. So Tenuki and whole board vision are really interrelated because the idea is that you are eventually going to come back to play a move if your opponent doesn't play something. So you want the situation when you come back to be better for you than it was before. If it doesn't get better, then there's no point in Tenuking. That just means that the position is not good for you at all. So in this case, I pushed the bottom left to prevent the pincer, and I also expected if white plays a move follow up here, then I don't mind double approaching. White has concentrated a lot of stones into the upper left, and I'm kind of moving around the board quickly, which was my plan anyway. If the game proceeds like this, like something simple, then even after this stone still has some aji. I can attach here, I can attach here, I can hane and just make some little bit of territory. It still has a lot of potential left in it. So I don't really mind if white follows up there. But in the game, white didn't do that. White backed off. And now, since I have a stone here, it's harder for white to really pincer this when I slide, but I didn't want to get pushed low, so I played this way instead. And white pincered, like kind of similar to the other variation, but we'll see that the C6 stone is kind of useful. If white pincers here, because I have this exchange already, it's a little bit harder for white to manage this area, and I would probably play here to settle. And if it's like this, I don't even know what white would do now. Probably, well, it kind of wants to separate me, but you know, once I jump out or get out, it's not entirely clear if these stones are that useful and if they might fall under a counterattack. Alternatively, I could just turn, right? Settle this group first, and then later, if white tries to counterattack this, it's still kind of difficult to really settle this area. And this stone could still fall under counterattack. Anyways, but white decided to play a tighter pincer. I don't think this was the right move. I do think a farther pincer, 3 space or 2 space high, would have been much better, but white didn't want to do that. Locally, the only follow-up move for black is to attach here, but if I play that right now, the position becomes not so good for me. So usually the joseki is like this, and white gets sente, and these stones are still floating, so I didn't really want to have to take care of them. If white backs off, I have to back off here, but white's group is fairly strong, and white would get sente again. Probably not that way. But this group could still be kind of a liability, too, if white decides to go after a bit more. So I didn't really want to play that way. It's totally fine to play that way, though. Like, black's position on the whole board is still very good. I think partially because the D15 stone is not proper, I guess, or not in accordance with the whole board. Like, it doesn't follow general Go theory. But I've been wanting to practice my fighting skill because there's a tournament coming up, so I decided to play something interesting. If I have to reinforce these stones, I want to reinforce it directly. This will open up more options against the corner, such as the attachment here, or attachment here. And this stone is still difficult for white to manage, right? If you kick, then these two groups are both running together, but the corner still has weaknesses, and I still can follow up in the upper left. So it's kind of a vital point for me to play here, in a strange sense. If white takes this, it's totally fine. I expected white to actually play this, because this is the proper local move, but I can actually just, like, I don't really mind connecting like this, because I get connected in sente, and I can reduce the influence. White has a big corner, it's pretty big, but the influence is kind of wasted. I get settled, and white still owes a move in the upper left, and I'm kind of moving around the board quickly too. So I didn't really mind this kind of formation either. It's really hard for white to resist more than this, because if he goes up, then these cuts are problematic, right? You can't block because there's a ladder. So yeah, this was kind of my strategy at the time. White attached. Now, if I respond, so I have two general ways of responding. I could hane or extend. If I hane, he backs off. It's okay. Actually, this is okay, but shape-wise I should push here. And then if I try to settle, it might be a bit, not more difficult, but I didn't really like the way that this was looking. So if you follow the same joseki, like, white starts getting fairly strong in the center, and white, more importantly, gets sente, and he can extend from his wall. So I didn't really want to play this way. These are all fine for black, like, there's nothing wrong with them, but I just felt like they were a little bit getting pushed around. If I extend, then white will probably kick, and now this shape is much better for attacking black than just the jump straight. So what do? I don't have a good local response, but if all my responses come back to me helping this stone, like, this one was okay, but if white's going to get strong and thick there, maybe I should just not play them and just settle right away, which is what I did in the game. Since white can settle here, but these stones still have play against the corner, and even though I'm ignoring an attachment, which is pretty severe, I'm also attaching the white, which is also difficult for white to ignore. So we play the normal joseki. I think this is actually a very big mistake for white. I think this is the second really big mistake. If white wants to take the white can play this push when white really wants to, take the outside, but at the cost of giving black, man, I can't click today. At the cost of giving black some aji, like these potential from these cutting stones. And this is how the game progressed. But if you notice, if white just connects and black doesn't want to take the corner and just goes here, then black has a difficult time settling these stones, I think. Like, it's kind of hard. Like, I was thinking maybe this kind of shape, but, you know, you never want to give white such a ridiculously good wall. So instead, what I was planning to do and what I expected to happen was I'd simply take the corner again, simple joseki. But this time white doesn't have the aji, the bad aji on the outside, right? This cut here. So this would be a much better result for white. I think that mistake was really big, like extraordinarily big, not connecting here. Alternatively, I thought maybe I actually might Tenuki this corner too, in a strange way, because yes, it's pretty bad for me because if white comes here, there's no way to save the corner, right? Even if I do this, he can still capture these because he got the extension. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Actually, no, I think I was planning just to do this at the time. And it's simpler, right? But white descended, so I kind of got lucky. And the aji became really, really good for me. So now this is settled. And white follows up on the move I Tenuki'd, right? So this looks like, wow, black just took the small corner and white got a wall and, you know, captured the stone. Pretty good for white, right? No, not really. This aji is really bad for white. It's like really hard to fix. And I think the game is almost like pretty difficult. So I played here. The idea is that once I connect, these three stones are going to be floating, so white has to fix this aji. So I expected after I play it, if white fixes the aji, then I can play here. And now I have, like, I'm moving really quickly. White would want to play something like this next, but there's some potential aji here, and it's a little difficult for white. If white, you know, plays something closer to deal with these, then I don't really care. I can give them up and just take the rest of the board. That was basically my plan. And even after this, there's still a lot of aji here for black to maneuver with and make shape. Whoops. So, in the game, because I played here, white took the right side. But that gave me a chance. If I connect right now, it's a little bit difficult for me to attack this group because my group is still pretty weak, right? I wanted to play like this, but it's hard for, you know, black to win this fight because I'm so short on liberties. So I have to find a way to get a better handle on the situation. And actually, I read this out when I played K4, but the main idea is to play here. If white spends a move here, that's still fine. I don't mind, you know, white getting thickness here because I have a stone here that reduces the influence. I already took the corner, and, you know, now I could take these stones. Or not take these stones, but settle my group, right? It's pretty good. So white doesn't want me to settle here, so he backs off. This is the strongest local reply, but it doesn't help this side at all, right? If you want to help this side, you have to back off, but that gives me, you know, forcing moves over here. Probably just connect. But now my shape is a lot better. I'm getting settled. White got a few points, but the territory is really, the influence is really not effective. Also, in terms of territory, I can always play this later, right, to reduce. I have to take the stone, but, you know, reduce all the points there, basically. So it's really tough for white at this point. So white plays the strongest local response, and I followed up. Oh, whoops. I didn't play that? Oh, right. First I probed here. I forgot about that. If I play these exchanges first, then white might get a chance to solidify the top. So I played this as a probe. I wanted to see how white would respond. I thought white would just play here, and then you know, I can get forcing moves. I could get this move, or I could get this turn, or maybe this wedge, depending on the situation, or a peep. It just gives me really good aji. If white plays here, then there's a clamp, or hane sometimes. There's a lot of different ways for me to get benefits out of this. If white hanes, then I can cross cut. I can still clamp, or if I just want to like get a base, I could play here. So I played this as a probe to see how white would respond. White actually responded probably with the most aggressive but worst possibility, or worst shape idea, which was here. It's an empty triangle, which is really bad. And it doesn't really stop me. So I haned. If white ataris, I'm just going to counter atai, right? And then I settle my shape. And this is really good for me. Even if white takes, then I can just back off, you know, and I'm pretty settled in the center. Whoops, so I would jump. KGS is lagging a bit. But, right, so I can like settle my shape pretty easily, and white gets very little in the corner. I probably would like leave it. If it was like this, I'd probably leave it here and leave the potential for later, and then move back to my strategy over here. But white defended, so I was happy to take the corner. This is all pretty much one way. White defended here because if he defends this way, he wouldn't want me to have a free forcing move. And now I can hane, and this group is a lot easier to manage for me. But I think maybe blocking was still better. I played this one because if I don't, white's F18 turn is sente against the corner, so I didn't want to deal with that. Okay, so here, like, white has sort of a wall, like a big wall on the left, but it actually has a lot of bad aji in it, which is what I was talking about before. So I'm making use of that aji. So black, I cut. White defends. I talked about this a bit earlier, and then I connected here. White has to defend, otherwise these stones are dead. If white defends looser, then it's possible that I can jump out, split this group, and later come back to D9 and split these stones. So instead, white defends here to reduce my liberties. It's more active. Also slightly better shape. But I have a really good tesuji here, which is this stone. This stone aims at two things. It aims at attacking with A against these stones, or moving out at B. Right? So if I move out with B, I either get a Tenuki or these stones are split. So white plays here. This is the local shape point to stop F7. If I block, then obviously the stones are captured, and if I run right now, it could be a little bit difficult for me. Like, the shape for me is not that great, and more importantly, white would get sente to help his stones. So it's kind of two weak groups against each other. But I'm not playing just locally, right? You have to keep your eye on the whole board. So I play D9, and now if white extends up, then I'm happy to run out, because now these 2 points are kind of miai again, connecting or cutting, or connecting, cutting, you know, separating the bottom stones. So like, say if white goes here, then I don't know. I was thinking about connecting in the game, but I would probably play this, right? This is more severe. White connects, I connect. And then now, even though white gets this first move, my shape is a lot stronger. I can really attack this group severely. And later, I still have some aji here. I can attach on top as like forcing moves, or these stones still have some potential with the hane, and there's some shortage of liberties things here. But white's really in trouble down here too. Also, this move is useful because if I get a extension here, white would defend up here. I could start building a really big moyo too. So the flow is really good for me. In the game, white didn't want me to cut him off, so he took he hunted under, and then took my 3 stones, right? But this result's really good for me, because before white had this what looked like it might be a huge wall on the left, but now it's kind of just like third and second line territory, right? And like 3 stones. It's not that big. So I took this corner. It works well with my extension and forces white to respond. I wanted to know if white would play here or here. Although I kind of expected this one because it's the more common. But you never know. White might play here. So white played here, and then I just made this exchange because it's Sente, and it kind of starts outlining some influence on the left, right? If I get one more move, then now I have like a lot of center control. So that's kind of why I made this exchange. And then I came back here. This is usually not a good move, but I have a really big lead right now. So I just wanted to simplify the game. If I wanted to play the most active way, I would invade. But there's not really a need for me to play, There's not really a need for me to play this way, right? This is not the right order. But there's no need for me to play this way because, like, these, I don't know. There's a lot of variations and like a lot of options. So I felt like it might be more annoying for me than it really needs to be. Also, white could just defend here. I pretty much have to defend the corner now. White gets a thick shape. This thick shape is okay. I don't know. This is probably okay. I'd follow up here. Maybe I should have played this way. At the time, I thought this was simpler. Because I was planning for it to be like this. If white connects on top to counteract my influence, then I can just take a clear territory lead. And now it's really hard for white to catch up. In the game, white pushed down, and if I respond now, it's a little bit small and slow. White has a lot of weaknesses. Usually the Joseki is for me to cut, but because white has the G17 stone, this isn't that interesting. My influence is kind of already reduced. So I just Tenuki'd again, and I think I played here. I'm solidifying the bottom and kind of aiming to grow my influence. Right? I still need the F8 move to really make it solid, but that's kind of the aim. And here I made a small mistake. I connected here. Notice that also the corner isn't in any danger. But I made a small mistake. I shouldn't connect that H3. It's too slow. Instead, I should just go here. Really expand this potential, I think, would be best. Because even if white cuts here, I haven't committed anything to this center here, so I can just counter Atari and then, keep expanding a little bit further away, but, it's a really huge potential. It's bigger than the before and bigger than the stone that white captured. But I connected, which was really slow, and it's a move that it was probably not my biggest mistake, but it's the move I regretted the most because it was really obvious and easy. White invaded because it's, threatening a large area. This is the most active and severe way. This move's important. If I don't play it, then white can pincer me. Or, not pincer, but pressure me. White wanted a base, but I think this is wrong direction. I think white should get out first. It also helps to reduce the center potential. Since white pushed here, I just decided to exploit the weaknesses of this group. And now it's clear why it's better for me not to have cut at P13. Right? I can have these options too. And after white settles, I settle my shape. Because now, if I play somewhere else, when white plays here, there's not as much weakness, right? White has this hanging connection. So it's harder for me to really settle my shape in a good fashion. It's like so much bad ashi, right? And then maybe white, reduces me or something. So I just settled. This move is kind of slow. I don't know. I ignored it, came back here. This is bigger. It affects the base of white's group. So now he has to handle it. At this point, I probed here because if white goes like this, right, I have more center potential. If white extends, then I might have some potential help with the connection here. because these two stones could be short on liberties. It also helps him with this cap, right? If I don't play this, I just cap, maybe white would be willing to give up some stuff. Like, if this stone might not be Sente. If it, like, really needed to connect out. So that's kind of why I played it. I think it might be borderline Ajikeshi, but I was pretty happy with it at the time. These are just making white heavy, and then I capped. I'm not aiming to kill this group or really attack it that severely. I just want to slow its movement down so I could get more moves in the center. White turned, and I blocked again. Right? I'm just trying to slow white's movement while expanding my potential. White jumped, and a lot of players, weaker players, will definitely want to Hane, I'm pretty sure, or something. But it's more important to solidify my area. These stones were not meant to kill white. They're just there to slow white down. White has to maneuver around them to get out. And I played here. I think this is actually a wrong move order. I think I should have jumped first. And then after white defends, then go here and solidify my big area. It didn't matter in the game because white played this move to solidify his shape. And then I got on this move anyway. But I think white had a chance to play here. At the time, I only read this situation, and I was like, oh, well, I could just cut if white does that, right? Or cut this way. So I was like, that's not a big deal. But white actually could play further out, and it might be trickier. It might be okay, but it looks a little more dangerous or difficult for me, right? Like, I don't know who wins this race now. Because this cut, I guess if you defend, it's okay. But, okay, so maybe white just defends this way. But this is a much better result. For white, like, kind of limited how fast I could grow. I don't know. It was maybe a wrong move order. I'd have to look into it more. So white made this exchange. I think white was overly worried about this. But it's clearly wrong direction. I'm still growing in this direction, so it's more important for white to play over there. Also gave me some counterattack opportunities. White played this way, but these kind of moves really only help me get stronger. And here I made a misread, or not a misread, I kind of chickened out, I guess. I should just connect, because there's nothing white can do here. But I thought white might cut. I don't know. I kind of just chickened out. So I just took the stone. I don't know why. White shouldn't even bother with this, though. White should cut. And I think it might be better, it might not. Because if you just... It's hard for white to actually win this fight, but... I don't know. It's hard for white to win this fight, but if you go this way... Maybe it was fine. Because I thought white would... Yeah, I should just do this, because it's hard for white to win this fight. And white will go here, and then I can take the stone. And this would have been way better for me, because I get more points in the corner. But in the game it was fine, because I judged I was really far ahead anyway, because I had this huge center building on top of the 3 corners, or 2.5 corners. So I didn't mind giving this to white, since I knew I'd get Sente. This is just a squeeze to solidify my position. And then I just develop farther, right? Now it's really clear I'm ahead. And here white just played this move, which doesn't make any sense to me. First off, white can't build the top. It's undercut by my stone. And also the center is much, much bigger, right? So it doesn't make any sense for white to play here. White can't really do much, but white should have at least tried to reduce it a bit, I think. That'd be the proper direction. A lot of players, I think, at this point would be panicking. Like, they'd be like, oh, my corner group is kind of weak. I need to solidify it somehow. Let me, live. But this exchange is really good for white. Now white can go further in, because he has the strength from these stones. And people obsess too much about their territory, I guess, or area. Like, you can just connect out, which is kind of what I did in the game. Yeah, it was like this, and here is I made this squeeze because if I play it at another time, white might hunt it Atari from the other way, and it also makes it really easy to settle my shape, and I get Sente to play L14, which is huge critical point. So basically now white's forced to reduce. This would be normal, but white was kind of greedy because he knows he's behind and tried to get some forcing moves, right? If I connect, then maybe there's some potential here, or maybe white can start making some mirror options or something. Maybe it's harder for me to defend this, right? Now it's like, oh, there's connection things. Before, without this exchange, I could just cut, and there's not much white could do, maybe. Hard to say. But, so white plays this one, but it's actually an overplay. I can take the critical point with this Kosumi, and now the stone really can't move. White should still turn back to reducing like this, I think is normal. But white tried to move it out, and from here it's just like, I didn't even mind. I thought white would just like give these up and make shape, and I'd be like, okay, that's fine. Actually, maybe not there. Maybe white has to go this way. But I thought like, it's okay, right? I don't mind giving up a little bit. I'm probably here. I still have a fairly huge lead at this point, but white decided to try to fight because it's the last chance. But I can squeeze white like this. It's not a ladder, but if you're reading sharp enough, you know that these stones, there's no way they're gonna live. This was kind of surprising. I thought white would at least try to push out and use the Aja here, like this. But I mean, it's pretty clear that white's gonna die. There's not enough room to make a second eye. But I just walked out because he let me. At this point, white played here. I could have fought harder by blocking, but I know I have such a huge lead that I just blocked and then white resigned. But the main points, so the middle-ish game was just kind of directional play. White misjudged the directional play a lot. But I thought the opening was the really kind of highlight idea of this game. Like being able to Tenuki here and Tenuki and kind of Tenuking counter pincering here and then Tenuking the attachment. I thought these were kind of interesting ideas. In retrospect, I think maybe the Tenuking this attachment might not have been good. I think maybe I should just connect it or something. It's kind of submissive, but it works pretty okay with the position. And if white blocks like this, then I don't mind attaching here. Even if white goes here, this is kind of still a useful exchange. I can still mess with the corner. Yeah, I thought it was just an interesting point to like look at your options, right? Because Go, sometimes when you study Go a lot, you feel really limited because you're like, well, I know this doesn't work, I know this doesn't work, so the only thing I know that works is this one, and you feel really limited. But when you can have the freedom to play kind of not wherever you want, but you have more options and you look at the rest of the board, I think it really opens up your game. Okay, that's all I really wanted to talk about today in this short video, but I promised I'd put it up, so yeah. If you enjoyed it, please follow on my YouTube, and we'll see you all next time.